Hi, I'm Dale Chapman. I'm from Studio Exchange in Baldock in Hertfordshire. Studio Exchange is a retailer actually of studio equipment and anything you'll ever find in the studio, including acoustics and all the right gear and everything you see behind us. So yeah, we kind of get involved with a lot of artists if we can. One of the ones we've been involved with very recently is Ace from Skankanansi. He's a lovely chap. I first met him via Facebook actually, when he posted up a question asking if anyone had used a Kemper profiler. And I'm an avid guitarist and an avid Kemper profiler owner. I bought my first one a couple of years ago, not very long after it came out, on a recommendation of a friend. And I'd been using it extensively and obviously loved it. Made a lot of my own profiles, some of which I've made here at the studio as well. And so I replied to Ace on Facebook and basically said, yeah, I've got one. By all means, if you want to have a go, come up and have a go. And he private messaged me and said, yeah, I'd be really interested in that. In fact, I'd like to profile all my own amps. Would that be possible? And I said, well, of course, absolutely. We'll book a date in and do it. And then I didn't hear from him for a few months. A couple of months later, he came back to me and basically said, I've got all my amps together. Let's do it. So here we are. We've booked in the session. We've profiled all of his amps, and had a great time making them sound like they do on the record. Okay, well here at the Studio Exchange Studios, SX Studios, we tried to keep things as simple as possible. We don't believe in having extraneous amounts of outboard gear if we can help it. We like to just use what sounds good, and as you might see behind me, we do have a nice selection of some pretty good gear. So what we do is with the profiling process with Ace, again, I wanted to just capture the most raw sound. If you were standing in front of the amp with him, that's the sound I wanted to capture. So obviously straight from the microphones, through a couple of our mic pre's we've got here. I've used, in this particular session, the Focusrite Red, the 500 series module, which is absolutely fabulous, especially when you want to start really driving it and get a little bit of attitude out of the signal. And the new Chandler TG2 500 series module, very similar kind of thing. You can really drive it and get a fat tone out of it. And that's what I used on the Sontronics Delta mic. Both of those basically wired straight into our interface into Cubase 7.5, which is by far and away my favourite DAW of all. I've used Pro Tools 10 and 11 and Logic 9 and 10, and found that actually I vastly prefer Cubase, partly because just the layout and ease of use. I've used it for a long time, so I know it very well, but partly because I personally do quite a lot of drum programming, MIDI programming, and Cubase it just makes that far easier than anything else to do that in a way that is really, really convincing. So yeah, pretty much that was the signal chain we used for Ace. Wiring up the Kemper for the profiling process is pretty much you come out of the Kemper and go back into it again. Is really, really easy. So yeah, the whole process really, once the amps are in, mic'd up, we've got a sound. I mean, we think we managed that all within an hour and a half, and that's with the amount of amps that Ace has. We've gone through quite a few different amps. So yeah, what we're toying with is running through a bit more outboard gear, and that's certainly something I'm going to be doing in my future profiling sessions. Is we've got a nice selection of equipment, particularly from Thermionic Culture, which is a brand that I've really fallen in love with. A lot of bands, things like Coldplay, use them on their things like the Nightingale and the Freebird. On their live vocals, just because it gives them a lot of control, and there's a lot of cool little tricks with the Thermionic brand that you can use that gives you sounds you can't get anywhere else. So there's things like that. We only use it if we really, really want to get something extra and make things that little bit larger than life. I've profiled many times before, and I've got quite a few friends who profile regularly as well. And what I've found in this particular session that I haven't really come across before is with some of Ace's amps that were dying or giving up, like the Clip, for example. When I spoke to Ace, obviously we were saying about how is it going to be possible to really profile this. I was thinking in my mind, you know, this is just not going to work. But we tried it anyway, and obviously it came out great. But the thing I haven't experienced before with a Kemper is the fact that it does take the sound. And if the amp is working perfectly, it will profile it perfectly. And if the amp isn't working perfectly, you can get interesting results that can really sound a lot better than the amp itself does, especially with some of the features that the Kemper has. Like, you can increase the definition on the playing, so that if you've got a very muddy sounding amp, you can just increase the definition and suddenly it becomes clear and slightly more modern. And that's something I've never experienced before that was introduced to me by Thomas. So yeah, there's really, really surprised that it can do that. I really don't understand how. My history with the Kemper, I mean, I used to take around a Marshall rig when I was touring in my band Imicus many years ago, and when the Kemper was recommended to me, I bought it, tried it, loved it, and sold everything I owned once I profiled it into my Kemper. And what I've found is that I've since left that band to focus more on producing and doing things like this. And basically, I've been taking it out live and just doing some cover shows and things like that. And more notably and extensively using it in the studio. I use it on everything without fail. I just don't use live amps now. Once I've got my sounds, I'm happy. If bands come in and they want to use their amp, I will profile their amp, and then we'll use the profiler for the rest of the session. So it just saves us. You get that thing sometimes where you record one day, great sound, and you come in the next day and somehow it sounds different. You haven't changed anything, you haven't moved anything, but it sounds different. That doesn't happen with us anymore because we just use the Kemper. So that's really good. In future, I mean, with Studio Exchange, we're trying to get involved with as many artists as possible. We basically are probably the best place in the UK to come and talk about the Kemper. You can come and try it, you can come and profile here, and you can come and record here as well. So what we're wanting to do is work with as many artists as possible, you know, known or unknown at any level, and basically get involved with using the Kemper and showing people what it's all about, because it's a really great tool for working quickly and efficiently. But not only that, there's no compromise. You do get the sound that you want, as long as the sound that you want is what was put into it in the first place. So ongoing, yeah, I really want to be to showing off the Kemper in our studio, and you'll find that a lot of the recordings that come out of our studio will feature the Kemper on. We are really trying to keep things really simple and quick and efficient and fun, and this is the great thing about the Kemper is while a lot of the fun is getting the sounds and everything, I find a lot of the fun is actually making the music. A lot of people spend a lot of time being technical and measuring and things like that, and that's not so much where the fun is for me. I like to just get stuck in and you know, lay a track down, but I want it to sound great. So the Kemper gives me the opportunity to be creative without that barrier of having to set a ton of stuff up first. So yeah, we're trying to really embrace what Kemper is about, as well as any studio gear really, providing it gives us this process. So yeah, I mean, what we're doing is bringing artists in and give them the opportunity to profile their amps and obviously walk away with their profiles. But not only that, I mean, we bring a lot of artists in just for rehearsals and such as well. We offer all sorts of facilities here, and not just rehearsals, you know, recording and mastering and mixing and everything like that. So, and not only that, but we invite everyone to just pop in for a chat. Really, if you visit our new website, which has just gone live, www.sxpro.co.uk, you basically see all the gear we have here on there and much more. On top of that, we are offering our own line of studio furniture, acoustics. We can literally build a studio from the ground up. So if you're interested in any of that, or in fact just popping in for a chat, talk about some of the gear we've got on offer, come and try it even, want to record, anything like that, just give us a call, book an appointment, and we'll be happy to see you. Thanks again. Take care.